Hi. So, I just wanted to pop on really quick and let you know that my schedule is changing a bit, I think. I don't know. So, for that reason, I'm going to close my books for personal readings for the time being. Obviously, the people who already have readings scheduled, nothing changes for you. We will do those readings on those dates and times, but I'm just not going to take any new bookings, at least for right now. So obviously, I will let you know if that changes. We're talking about May. Shouts out to you, May babies, Taurus and Gemini. I'm a cusper. My birthday is on the 20th. Oh my gosh. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get into the reading. We're going to be using the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. And then we're using this tarot deck. I need to find the name of it. It doesn't come with a book, which is really annoying to me, but I'll figure it out. I'll Google it because I have no clue. I got it a couple years ago. So without further ado, and obviously because of my schedule, the videos are going to come out probably a bit more sporadically. Just an FYI on that too, if you care. But yeah, let's get into it. Hello. Man, I think I've been awake for like barely an hour. And I just I keep getting, I don't even know, like nagged maybe to do this reading. So I'm just going to do it so that I can relieve this pressure that's on me. I'm not even sure who the reading is for. That's kind of the thing about doing it the bull method. Which I'm not entirely sure I'm going to continue doing. Let's see. Gemini. Whoops. Let me see. Is this Gemini? Okay. So I have a bowl. I have two bowls. Anyway, yeah, I just, I've been doing the bowl method with choosing who goes next. And for a while, it felt good to do that. And now I'm just kind of it's not feeling as good anymore to do it, so I'm not even entirely sure how we're going to do these the next time. But anyway, let's get an oracle card for you. And then, of course, we will get some tarot as well. Stag. Trust and thrive. It's so interesting to me because the only cards that have come out so far have been the ones that look like this. And maybe you don't know. I mean, we have protection guardians, we have all these other kind of cards in here, but I don't know, it's just, for whatever reason, I just find that interesting. Not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. Stag. Trust and thrive. I wonder if let me grab the book really quick, because I know that symbol back there has a name that I can't think of right now. Let me just read this really quick since I have it in my hand. It says, "Come alive and thrive. Stand in your light and glory with grace and majesty. The Stag card brings graceful and powerful medicine into your life. In the Celtic traditions, the stag, with his crown of antlers, is known as the king of the forest and is a totem that brings protection in challenging times. In Native American traditions,
He is greatly loved, for stags and deer have provided food for the people and materials that have allowed them to create medicine such as drums, rattles, and smudge fans. Although the stag has been hunted in the past and still is, he has strength, dignity, and poise. When this card arises, it can also represent fertility and sexuality, maybe an opportunity to explore your sexual side with your spiritual integrity supporting you on that journey. And the extended message is you have an opportunity to thrive. Trust in all that you have to offer, all your gifts, strength, and power, and make the most of it. You are born to lead and this can also become a reality when you are willing to put yourself in that position. Stag energy allows you to feel safe because the antlers keep away anything that could interfere with your intelligence and presence. And their strength gives you the power to be agile in your thinking. You are being encouraged to retain your dignity and be proud of who you are and all that you've accomplished. This in turn will give you even more power to thrive. Onwards and upwards. I love that. And it did not mention this symbol back here, and I wish I could think of what that is. If I remember, I will Google it afterwards and either put it in a comment or put it in the description. All right. Let's get some tarot out here. We have the Son of Cups or the Knight of Cups, the Chariot, Six of Cups. That's interesting. I mean, that's all water. All water cards. We have the Empress, the Daughter of Wands, or the Page of Wands. And then we have the Eight of Cups. How interesting. And then the Lovers. Oh my gosh. This is your card. Two of Wands. I love when, like the card. Yeah, you know. I will say, if you're not looking to expand your family, then just be a bit more cautious, a bit more careful for the next little bit, because, just this pair together. So the Son of Cups, like I said, is the Knight of Cups, and cups have to do with our emotions, how we're feeling. It's our heart chakra, it's love, but it's like, what is our relationship to love? And not even specifically romantic love, but like self-love, like what are the things in our lives that we love, like how do we express that love, and how do we also like accept it, right? Like how do we receive? And the Knight of Cups is traditionally like an offer. They have their cup there, they have the Ace of Cups, and they're generally offering that to somebody else. So, that could be an offer being made to you, or it could be you making that offer to somebody else. And the Knight of Cups is also traditionally the like knight in shining armor of the tarot. It's kind of like they show up at the right time, place, opportunity type of thing, because that's what, we all, for the most part, have been taught a knight in shining armor is, right? It's like our savior, They come save us from whatever, like situation that we're in. So, yeah, and it could be like an apology. It can be, some sort of like a job offer, of course, but it's a message nonetheless. And it's also interesting, like on this card, it looks like there's not like a cave, but there's this like rite of passage type of thing going on here. Or even just like this situation, whatever this is, has been a journey. Whether, again, like that's a journey that you've been on. And maybe it's like one of those things where you're trying to even get your feelings together about something, like, how would I feel about if I were to receive this offer, or if I were to receive a message from somebody or whatever, right? Like, how would I feel about that? And what, like, would I want to communicate? Like, how would I want to communicate those feelings, right? Like, just, when you have those like conversations in your head. And then we have it paired with the Empress, which is why I was saying, like, if you are not looking to expand your family, be a bit more vigilant as far as that goes. If you are, though, of course, like, this is a good omen for that, because the Empress is generally depicted as being pregnant. The Empress is the divine feminine, and it's the energy, not necessarily the gender. I mean, of course, as far as reproduction goes, like, women are the ones that create, right, life, but it's not specific to female gender. Because obviously, I mean, we need the other half of that in order to make that work. So when we think divine feminine, we think of the things that are traditionally feminine, like being in the flow, intuition, like I was saying, even with the Knight of Cups, receiving, nurturing, even. And then, even with pregnancy in the tarot, it doesn't have to specifically be, biological reproduction. It can just be that there are opportunities that are flourishing around you, or even just reproducing abundance or reproducing those opportunities. And it's because, it's like you got out of your own way and just started, to either respond to things or just allowed yourself to kind of go with the flow, and especially allowed yourself to react to things based on how they make you feel. Like I was saying at the beginning with the bowl thing, choosing, right? I always say, I'll go where the energy takes me as long as it feels good. Even if my mind is freaking the F out. Because it does and it will. But if I feel good and like calm and neutral in my body about something, and if it feels good, like I'm not having that anxious, kind of reaction to something, then I will continue forward, and I'll just kind of keep telling my brain, like, we're just going to dip our toe in or whatever, like, let's just check it out. So again, with the bowl thing, right? Like I was saying, it felt good for a little while, and now it feels less good. It just kind of feels, I don't know, annoying or whatever. But it's changed, right? So that's like what I'm talking about here is, it's like follow what makes you feel good, even if your brain is like, what the hell? Because that's ego stepping in, and ego's job is to, kind of keep you safe. And anything that's outside of the norm, like outside of homeostasis, your ego is going to be like, nope. So it's like taking steps forward. And I love that there's a heart here, because like I said, right, even with Cups, it's heart chakra. I love that these trees are growing from this heart. So there could even be a thing about getting outside. Oh my gosh, maybe you guys have ever heard me talk about talking to trees. I swear they're the ones that tell me to tell you guys. Like, I don't care how crazy that sounds either. Because most of the time when I do these readings, I'm looking outside at trees. um, and I swear, like, whenever it comes up, because this card has come out already at least one other time, and I haven't mentioned it. So it's definitely a message for you guys. And even in that other reading, I'm pretty sure it's also saying to get outside. But anyway, you know, I'm definitely a huge tree talker. And legit, if you ask a tree if you can talk to it, you'll get a feeling of yes or no. It's wild. Just do it and tell me what happens. But I love, like I have like my favorite kind of trees, but if I'm ever, just kind of like uncertain and, on that like spiral thing or whatever, I do try talking to trees because, also like how they transmute the energy, and that's all that I ask them to do. Like I don't, I'm not asking you to absorb the energy, but I am asking you to transmute it, because they take in sunlight, they photosynthesize it or whatever and turn it into oxygen for us, right? So that's kind of what I ask it to do. Like, whatever it is, transmute the energy for me and spit it out cleansed and available, right? Either for me or for somebody else who needs it. So that's my whole spiel on talking to trees. But again, you could just maybe need to get outside and even just like consider these things. Like allow even like your feelings to expand, like energetically, of course. It's almost like, giving yourself enough space because, there is something going on here with this trust and thrive, and the whole thing was talking about, there's this energy available for you to, kind of step into more of your power, like it was even talking about like a leadership role in some capacity. That doesn't necessarily have to be like with a job specifically, but it could just be, almost being like a not necessarily like a role model, but like leading by example type of thing. And it's just like the way that you live your life is kind of an example for other people. And then we have the Chariot here, which is Cancer. This is, the Empress is Taurus or Libra. But the Chariot is about things moving forward quickly. I always see the Chariot as being divine guidance because it's like you're going to be taken where you need to go if you can get out of your own way. Also too, that looks like a salmon to me. I don't know because there's not a book for this deck, which again, I know I already said like just annoys me. But I'm also like, I love books for anyway. So there might be a book if I like all of a sudden I feel like I am remembering there's a book that's sold separately, which is also annoying. Anyway, so that looks like a salmon to me, and salmon swim against the current, right? That's why it's like jumping up towards this waterfall that's like going down. So that might be like you might feel like you're swimming against the stream. Or because, for salmon, that's normal, right? It doesn't feel unnatural to them. So that might just be what you end up doing from here. And maybe what the problem is like other people like maybe their opinions or even like what you feel should be happening. But there is this feeling of like swimming against the current. However, though, like I said, with salmon, that's what they do. And also, I'm pretty sure, I don't even know how I know this, so I'm not even sure if it's true. It's just literally being dropped into my consciousness. But I'm pretty sure that they do that in order to lay eggs. So it's interesting that it comes after the Empress card. And again, like I said, right, like it does not have to be, if you're not looking to get, like pregnant or whatever, right? It's not for you in that capacity. But of course, if you are, and if you have been trying, then it is for you in that capacity. So of course, take what resonates, right? But, again, it's like planting that seed, though. My dog agrees. And it's also interesting that, it's kind of like a risk to do that, right? Because, I'm like getting this image of, like a brown bear or whatever, like standing there waiting for a salmon to jump out of the water for it to catch it. And even how I was saying over here with the Knight of Cups, how there's like kind of this rite of passage thing. Again, like this might feel like a risk to you in some capacity. And that could be why there's, like kind of this consideration aspect thing happening through this reading. And then we have the Daughter of Wands or the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is going to enter into anything with like enthusiasm and like excitement to try something new. Like it's like they're the person that loves being the newbie. Like they're the ones that just, they love learning new stuff, love being in that, beginner's mindset. Wands are fire. So it's motivation, it's the actions that we're taking, communication. It's also information, whether you're getting or giving information. I always see the wands as being, like it's actually the things that we try. So, what do we get from trying things? We learn what we like, we learn what we don't like. We figure out what works, what doesn't work. So we get information, right? Like and that's kind of how we become wise. And pages, they are kind of the youngest energies out of the court cards, because they are the ones that are like, they're the new person on the block. But again, right, I mean, there is this feeling, and especially like with these fireworks here, there is this feeling of like play, like allow whatever this is, instead of seeing it as a risk, like, see it as an adventure, basically. And there's really only one way to figure out if it's going to work or not, and that's by doing it, And especially, it's 2023. Like, we don't just pass up opportunities because it feels like a risk, right? Like, try it. Nothing is permanent, And too, with the fireworks aspect, and then we have the Knight of Cups over here, like you think about, again, with the knight in shining armor thing, right? Like, there's also that thing that people, with like, fantasy, I guess, it's like, I want that fireworks feeling, like that spark with somebody. So it's almost like whatever this situation is, it could be that thing that you've been looking for. It's just packaged differently, but it's like all of a sudden, like you'll see fireworks, which to me just like kind of, it's like victory and celebration, right? That's kind of interesting. And then we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is literally the card of the past. It's nostalgia. It's like thinking about the good old days. It could be inner child, but with it being cups, again, right? I mean, it's like how it's your relationship to the past? Like, how do you feel about it? How does it, you know, how does it live in your like emotional body? And with it paired with the 8 of Cups, which is walking away from something, it's realizing when the energy of that thing has either been used up or, used for its purpose, or it's no longer, it's like I was saying, if it feels good, do it. If not, then it's time to move on. And the 8 of Cups is not only just like leaving behind these 8 cups, they're walking towards the 9 of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. They're like, you know what? I'm ready to move towards what makes me feel purposeful or fulfilled. And that's what I'm going to do. So it's interesting that this pairing is together because it's telling me that there is an opportunity for you to, like, if you are basing this whole situation based on prior stuff, like, this is how it worked out before, or this is how I felt about it before, or whatever it is, this is saying that this is not like that other situation from the past. It's not like the other job. It's not like the other relationship. It's not like the other, attempt to expand a family. It's not that. So there is this invitation to almost like let go of like past expectations. Like if something didn't work out in the past, like you had an expectation at that time for how it was going to go. And if it didn't meet that expectation, it's like you're projecting that onto the current situation. It's like you're not even that person anymore. Like you're not that person that had those specific expectations for that specific situation. You are who you are today. And you might have a better idea about expectations and how pointless they can be sometimes, right? I mean, it's one thing to have goals, but like when you have expectations and you're just leaving the door open for disappointment, and really it's like, the only expectation you should have is to feel good about it. And then we have the Lovers card at the bottom of the deck, like I said, which is your card, right? So it's like this thing about, I just love that that this is at the bottom, because it's like all of this is for you, right? Like it's somehow, even just getting you closer to connection with yourself, or like connection to, what is being offered to you. The Lovers can, of course, like be a specific relationship. It doesn't have to be. I mean, like I was saying even before, like it could be your relationship to yourself. But this is about, it's like yin and yang, right? It's the masculine and feminine energies. And it's those two things being in balance. The masculine being initiating and giving and, kind of like bulldozing, like going out and getting it done, right? Versus the feminine, like we were talking about before, being in the flow and intuitive and receiving. So it's, the balance of those two things. And maybe that's even like what you're being taught throughout this whole thing. It's like recognizing when it's time to go get, and initiate and, kind of show up in that masculine energy, and then, being shown like when it is time to, like be in the feminine energy of flowing and letting things kind of come to you, right? And just seeing how the pieces fall. But there's this like delicate dance between those energies for both men and women and anything in between, right? Like, and like I said, it's this like delicate dance. And it's almost kind of like, have you ever seen those birds that like do those like death dives or whatever, like together, and that's kind of their mating thing? That's like how this feels like to me. So, I mean, like I said, it could be a relationship with somebody else. It could just be a relationship with yourself. It could even just be your relationship to something else, like how you operate in your day to day, right? And then we have the 2 of Wands, which is, planning for the future. These two wands are rubbing together. It looks like to create a fire. So again, right, it's almost like getting something going. And even just the patience to do that. And even like having the skill to do that. Like I couldn't rub two sticks together and create a fire. Like if I did it enough, I'm sure I could probably figure out, it's like the right pressure or whatever to do that, and rubbing them together at like the right, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying. Creating the right type of tension to create a fire. But like, you already know, it's like you already have the skill set, you already have the knowledge, to do this thing, and now it's just like kind of planning for what's next. Oh my gosh. So then we have the Four of Cups, which is kind of like boredom and like dissatisfaction a little bit. Like this could even be this could even just be like emotional, because none of these glasses have anything in them, but they're over what appears to be water. So you could be just kind of feeling depleted in some capacity on the emotional side. Whatever, like this situation is, it's like, I just don't even have like the emotional capacity to deal with it. And especially with the Five of Pentacles being behind it, like, feeling lack, scarcity. I mean, these are overripe tomatoes on here, clearly rotted, right? Like, so it's interesting because we have this Two of Wands, which is creating, this friction. And then it's like, I don't even know if I like have the capacity to like do this thing. It feels overwhelming. And then we have the Nine of Cups after all of that, though. And this is what I was saying, the Eight of Cups is moving towards the Nine of Cups. And the nine, I mean, just look at this card. There's this hammock between two palm trees. There's, like the ocean, I'm assuming it looks like. So it's like, you might, if you do feel this way, then this is like literally just, it's a message that on the other side of this feeling, on the other side of this planning is this Nine of Cups energy. And it's probably going to end up working out better than you think it's going to work out, because if you're coming from a place of thinking about it from a space of being emotionally exhausted and physically exhausted, because the Five of Pentacles is our physical body, then yeah, you're seeing it from a place of not having a full cup at all and being like over extended in some capacity. But like I said, on the other side of that is the Nine of Cups. So if you can, like I was saying at the beginning, like if you can just kind of follow your inner feeling, right? Like really connect to your heart, not your brain, not your ego. And it's interesting, we don't even have any air out here except for the Lovers card. But if you can connect to that, and I also love that this was talking about the antlers being protection, because it is very much protected. This does feel protection or protected. So again, if you can, just kind of allow yourself to flow by how you feel, not what's going on in your mind, then on the other side of that is the Nine of Cups. And I'm going to leave it there. But before I do, I thank you so much for even making it this far if you have. And if you haven't already, like the video, dislike it, either way, it's engagement and I appreciate it. Leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji. I swear, I know I'm terrible at responding to comments. I will, and I'm sorry. But it just, I mean, my intention is to grow this channel, grow this beautiful community. And of course, I cannot do that without you. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It feels like a lot of people are having to like pander for like engagement and subscribers. It's kind of funny. So we're all doing it. It just, I don't know if there was something that changed with the YouTube algorithm. Who knows, but like, yes, I would definitely appreciate that. And I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.